In India as well, and we're seeing some of that food inflation come through. The Great Indian Thali getting that much more expensive, even though economic data shows that inflation is cooling down, that it's reaching manageable levels in the month of May. That's what the data was pointing towards. But still, at this time, it's boring a deep hole in the pockets of consumers if you consider prices of spices, which have been zooming up. In fact, in just the past month alone, the prices of turmeric have gone up as much as 24%. Consider coriander. Coriander prices have gone up as much as 15%. All of it on the back of supply constraints, competitive pricing, weak sowing as well. So we've gone around to get a report from the ground. One of our reporters, Aishwarya Patil, went down to the APMC Mandi in Mumbai earlier today to get us this report.
Well, the Great Indian Gravy or the Indian Thali is all about to get expensive. It's been an El Nino year in various places, especially tomato producing places and other vegetable producing places have been affected due to untimely rains as well as delayed monsoon and a heat wave across the country. At this point, we are seeing inflation which is ubiquitous across the board in terms of vegetables as well as spices. Let's take a look at the Kashmiri chili, which is right now at anywhere between 500 to 700 rupees per kg as compared to a year ago, which was around 300 to 500 rupees a kg. When we take a look at cumin prices, that has also shot up. That is topping the list at 800 rupees per kg in the retail market. But at this point in the wholesale market, it's anywhere between 550 to 680 rupees per kg.
If you see overall, since last year, the prices of spices, the garam masalas, have almost gone up by 70 to 80% from last year to this year. Most of them are imported also, and the prices have gone up there. So effectively it has gone up here also. Best example of this is, I would say, is watermelon seeds. The government has just now, some time back, allowed to import this thing, seeds. And as a trader, I feel is that you temporarily at least reduce the taxes and the excise duties and all, so as to reduce prices. And then you'll have to just keep your fingers crossed and wish that the weather remains fine, considering the El Nino effect also that is going to come up for the next year.
If, the producing areas don't see enough rainfall and things don't materialize in these producing areas, turmeric producing areas, especially in Maharashtra as well as Andhra Pradesh, the prices are all set to spike going forward.
Yes, this is the way it is at this point in time, and of course we'll continue to monitor it. But G. Chandrasekhar, who's an economist and a commodity market specialist, he has spoken to us, sharing his take on this demand-supply tussle when it comes to spices. So here's an excerpt of the conversation we had with him.
We had a delayed onset of the monsoon, and the progress has not really been satisfactory. Even as of today, or as of yesterday, I must say, the country is facing a 16% deficit in monsoon. The whole of South India is in deficit except some parts of Tamil Nadu, and plus Bihar, plus Odisha, and several other parts of central India. They're all in acute deficit. Whereas Gujarat, Rajasthan, of course, have enjoyed reasonably good rainfall thanks to that, what was that, Biparjoy, okay, which for people turned out to be vapor sorrow, but for farmers it was good because it created enough subsoil moisture. So one, the monsoons aberrations in the progress, because what is important for the southwest monsoon is not the total quantum of rainfall, but a temporal and spatial distribution of rains over 4 months. And that is the start and the progress so far, in my view, has been less than satisfactory. This is number one. Number two, look at turmeric, for example. Turmeric is an early sown crop. It is actually sown even before the monsoon arrives. And there was a delay in the arrival of the monsoon. Therefore, farmers were quite apprehensive. Look at jeera, for example. Last year, Gujarat, which is the largest producer of jeera or cumin, actually had unseasonal rains in October, November, which actually destroyed a part of the crop. Therefore, lower production. The third reason is actually export. the global demand for Indian spices is absolutely robust. Whether it is cumin seed, turmeric, or coriander, I think our export numbers are looking fantastic. The very large export demand, as a result of which domestic prices have risen. For example, January to April, turmeric export is up 30% year on year to 65,700 tons.
Sure.
And in fact, that's a big number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Similarly.
No, sir, I get your point, but just to come back to the first couple of reasons that you mentioned, a part of it is also because of the unseasonal rains or the lack of rains, as you talked about. So would you say this is just a very, very temporary phenomenon, maybe next 10, 15 days, and it should stabilize then?
No, I'm afraid this will continue because farmers will still continue to remain apprehensive about planting spices on a very large scale. Already last year, the coriander acreage was lower. And this year, given its huge volatility in prices, farmers may not be enthused to expand the acreage, particularly with the looming risk of El Nino, dry conditions, etc., etc. So my sense is 23-24, this year, spices production may not see a spike, whereas demand will continue to grow, both domestic consumption demand and export demand. In my view, prices will continue to remain fairly elevated. I'm not saying the current prices will continue for the next 6 to 8 months, but there may be corrections, obviously, but they will continue to remain elevated, in my view.
All right, so the reasons, expert take on why we are seeing the kind of price rise right now and whether this pain is going to continue or not. But what about the global spice market? Now, India is one of the largest exporters of spices with the likes of China and the Netherlands and Germany as well. But yes, India has this big share. At this time, what do Indian exports in spices look like? Let's find out from my colleague Lisa, who is joining us to break it down for us. When it comes to spice exports for India at this time, and we are seeing these prices go up because of the kind of precipitation that we've seen, do tell us where things stack up. Lisa?
Well, household budget is going for the toss as the prices of spices, they have been increasing, and that is causing the common man to start sweating. The prices of essential spices that of cumin, turmeric as well as chili, they have reached their record levels in 2023, and that is because of unseasonal rainfall seen in various parts of the country. But let's look at some interesting exports data of India. Firstly, India is the second largest exporter of spices in the world with a share of 16%, and that is because China is the largest exporter of spices with 22% share. And if we look at the major importers of Indian spices during 2023, it was China with a 20% share, USA with a 14% share, Bangladesh with a 7% share, followed by UAE with a 6% share. And if we look at the trend of exports also, that has increased substantially. The value of exports has risen to 31,700 crore in 2023 versus 9,700 crore way back in 2011. Even the volumes have increased substantially. Now, if we look at the major exporters to the spice exports basket in terms of value, it comprises those spices which has risen. Chili has it has around 33% share in the basket. Cumin has 13% share, while turmeric has 5% share. The government has done a lot to increase the exports. They have set up export development and promotion of spices and also spice parks for the processing. Now, looking ahead, the future of these spice prices, that looks a bit uncertain, because what will influence it going forward is the weather pattern and also geopolitical developments. But for now, we can safely say that these common staples have now become precious commodities.
All right, thanks very much, Lisa. That really tells us exactly how the export scenario, when it comes to these spices, where India is a big exporter, how it actually is looking at this point in time where prices are shooting up. But meanwhile,